They mocked a beggar for 7 years. He owned everything they had. Stories like this, every week, ancient wisdom, modern lessons. I am the Lorekeeper. Subscribe now. Hit the bell. Don't miss your story.
Imagine an old woman so terrifying that children ran screaming when they saw her. The whole village called her a witch. They said she ate babies. They said she cursed farms and killed cattle with her eyes. Everyone avoided her. Everyone feared her. Everyone except one small orphan boy who brought her food every day. What happened when the truth about the old woman came out made the entire village fall to their knees and weep. Long ago, in a village called Mampong, deep in the forest region, there lived people who worked hard and feared God. They grew cocoa and cassava. They raised chickens and goats. They built their huts with mud and love, passing traditions from grandmother to granddaughter, from grandfather to grandson. It was a good village, peaceful, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone's name and everyone's business. But at the edge of the village, where the forest grew thick and dark, there was a hut that no one visited. An old woman lived there alone. Her name was Nana Bena, but no one called her by her name. They called her the witch. She was ancient, so old that no one remembered when she was young. Her skin was wrinkled like tree bark. Her hair was white and wild, uncombed and tangled with leaves. Her back was bent so far that she walked looking at the ground. Her eyes were clouded, almost blind. Her teeth were mostly gone. She wore the same ragged cloth every day. It might have been white once. Now it was gray with age and dirt. She walked with a twisted stick for support, tapping the ground as she moved. The children of Mampong grew up hearing stories about her. "Stay away from Nana Bena's hut," mothers would warn. "She is a witch. She eats children who wander too close." "If you misbehave," fathers would threaten, "we will leave you at the witch's door. She will cook you in her pot and pick her teeth with your bones." The stories grew darker with each generation. Some said she had killed her own husband and children to gain dark powers. Some said she flew at night visiting homes to suck the breath from sleeping babies. Some said she could turn into a crow or a snake or a shadow that crept under doors. Once, a farmer's cow died suddenly. "The witch cursed it," he told everyone. "I saw her looking at my farm 3 days ago. She killed my cow with her evil eye." Another time, a woman had a difficult childbirth. She almost died. "The witch tried to take my baby," she claimed. "I felt cold hands around my throat. She was stealing my life force." More stories, more accusations, more fear. No one asked if these things were true. No one investigated. The witch was a convenient explanation for every misfortune. Crop failed, the witch. Child got sick, the witch. Business went bad, the witch. The chief Barima tried once to calm the people. "She is just an old woman," he said at a village meeting. "She has lived here longer than any of us. She has never harmed anyone." But the people shouted him down. "You defend her because she has cursed you too," someone yelled. "She controls your mind." Chief Barima gave up. He could not fight fear with reason. And so Nana Bena lived alone at the edge of the forest. She had no visitors, no friends, no family that anyone knew of. She survived somehow, maybe eating roots and berries from the forest, maybe catching small animals. No one knew and no one cared. Years passed like this, decades. Then came the orphan. His name was Kweku. He was 8 years old, thin as a stick, large eyes that seemed too big for his face, quiet, watchful, sad. Kweku's parents had died 2 years earlier. Fever took them both within a week. One day they were healthy and laughing. The next day they were coughing and burning. 5 days later they were in the ground. Kweku had no other family, no grandparents, no aunts, no uncles. His parents had come from far away, fleeing some trouble no one talked about. They had arrived in Mampong with a baby Kweku and nothing else. They had built a life from nothing. And now they were gone. The village was supposed to care for orphans, That was the tradition. The community raised children who had no parents. It was the African way. But Kweku was different. He was an outsider's child. His parents had never fully belonged, and worse, there were whispers. His parents died too fast, women said at the well. It was not natural. Maybe they brought something evil with them. Maybe the child is cursed. Maybe he carries the same sickness. Best to keep away. Best not to get too close. So Kweku was cared for, but barely. He slept in a corner of the chief's compound because no family would take him. He ate what was left over after others had finished. He wore clothes that no one else wanted. He worked hard, fetching water, sweeping floors, collecting firewood, but he was never thanked, never loved. He learned to be invisible, to move without being noticed, to speak only when spoken to expect nothing. One evening, Kweku was collecting firewood at the edge of the forest. He had wandered farther than usual because the good wood near the village was already taken. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. He heard a sound, a moan, low and pained. Kweku froze. The stories of the witch filled his mind. Was this a trick? Was she waiting to catch him? But the moan came again. It was not scary. It was sad, the sound of suffering. Kweku crept closer, his heart pounding. He pushed through some bushes and found himself near the witch's hut. And there, on the ground near the door, lay Nana Bena. She had fallen. Her walking stick was broken. She could not get up. She was too weak, too old. She lay in the dirt, moaning softly, waiting to die. Kweku should have run. Every story, every warning, every lesson told him to run. This was the witch, the baby eater, the curse bringer. If he touched her, he would be cursed too. But Kweku looked at her and saw something the others refused to see. He saw a hungry old woman who had fallen and could not get up. He saw himself, alone, abandoned, left to suffer because people were afraid. Before he knew what he was doing, Kweku ran to her. He knelt beside her. "Nana, are you hurt?" The old woman's clouded eyes tried to focus on him. She squinted. She had not heard a kind voice in years. She thought she was dreaming. Who is there?" "I am Kweku. I live in the village. You fell. Let me help you." He put his thin arms on her hand, tried to lift. She was light, too light, skin and bones, nothing else. He managed to get her sitting up. "Can you stand, Nana? I will help you to your door." The old woman could not believe what was happening. A child helping her, not running, not screaming, helping. Slowly, painfully, Kweku got her to her feet. He supported her as she hobbled to her hut. He pushed open the door and helped her inside. The hut was dark and bare, almost nothing inside. A thin mat on the ground, a broken pot, some dried leaves that might have been once medicine. No food, no water, nothing. "Nana, you have no food?" Kweku said, looking around. The old woman sank on her mat. She did not answer. She was too tired, too ashamed. "I will bring you water," Kweku said, "and food. Wait here." He ran. He ran back to the village as fast as his legs could carry him. He snuck into the chief's compound. He stole food from the kitchen. Just scraps, things that would be thrown to the pigs anyway. He filled a gourd with water. He ran back to the witch's hut. Nana Bena had not moved. She thought the boy was a dream, a vision sent by the ancestors before death. But then he was there again, real, holding water to her cracked lips, pressing food into her hands. "Eat, Nana, slowly, small bites." The old woman ate. She cried while she ate. Tears cut paths through the dirt on her wrinkled cheeks. "Why?" she whispered when she could speak again. "Why do you help me? Don't you know what they say about me?" Kwetu shrugged. "They say many things. They say my parents were cursed. They say I am bad luck. Maybe they are wrong about me. Maybe they are wrong about you too." Nana Bena stared at this child, this small, thin, hungry child who had more wisdom than the whole village combined. "What is your name again, child?" "Kweku." "Kweku." She said it like a prayer. "Kweku."
I will remember this.
The ancestors will remember this. From that day on, Kweku visited Nana Abena every evening. It became his secret mission. He would finish his chores in the village. He would collect his meager dinner, often just a handful of kenke or a few spoonfuls of soup, and he would split it, half for himself, half for the old woman. He never had much, but he gave half of everything. He brought her water, he swept her hut, he gathered soft leaves to make her mat more comfortable. He found a new walking stick for her, straighter and stronger than the broken one. Sometimes he just sat with her and listened, because Nana Abena, once she trusted Kweku, began to talk. She told him about her life, the real story, not the fantasies the villagers had invented. "I was born in this village," she said one evening. 80 years ago, maybe more. I don't count anymore. Kweku sat at her feet, listening. "I was a beautiful girl once. Can you believe that? Men wanted to marry me. My father was a proud man. He wanted the highest bride price." She laughed softly, a sound like dry leaves rustling. "I married a good man. Kofi was his name. We had children, 3 sons. They were strong and good. We were happy." Her voice grew sad. Then the sickness came, a terrible sickness that swept through the village. It took my husband in 2 days. It took all 3 of my sons within a week. I nursed them. I held them as they died. I buried them with my own hands. Kweku's eyes filled with tears. "I survived. I don't know why. The sickness touched me but did not take me. And the village decided that I must be the cause. How else could I survive when everyone I loved died?" She shook her head. "They called me a witch. They said I killed my own family to gain power. My own family, Kweku. My husband, my children. They said I sacrificed them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the pain of that accusation?" Kweku shook his head. He could not imagine, but he was beginning to understand. "I had nowhere to go. This hut was all that remained. The villagers drove me here to the edge. They burned my husband's compound. They destroyed everything. They left me with nothing but their hatred." "That was 60 years ago, Kweku. 60 years I have lived alone. No one has spoken kindly to me in all that time, until you." Kweku took her wrinkled hand. It was cold and thin. He held it gently. "They are wrong, Nana, like they are wrong about me. We know the truth." The old woman smiled. Her clouded eyes sparkled with something they had not held in decades: hope. Months passed. Kweku continued his visits. He grew a little stronger from the hard work, though he was still thin. His heart grew stronger too, from the love he shared with Nana Abena. She taught him things, stories of the old days, proverbs and wisdom sayings, the names of plants in the forest and their uses, the songs her mother sang to her when she was a child. Kweku listened to everything. He memorized everything. The old woman was giving him a grandmother, and he was giving her a grandson. Neither had had family in so long. But secrets are hard to keep in a small village. One day, a farmer saw Kweku sneaking toward the forest with food. He followed. He saw the boy enter the witch's hut. By evening, the whole village knew. The scandal was enormous. "The orphan boy serves the witch. She has captured his soul. He brings her food so she can do her evil magic. He is her apprentice. He will become a witch too." Chief Barima called an emergency meeting. The whole village gathered at the square under the great tree. Torches burned. Faces were angry and afraid. Kweku was dragged to the center. Rough hands held him. He did not cry. He did not beg. He stood straight and silent, his large eyes looking at the crowd. "Is it true?" Chief Barima demanded. "Have you been visiting the witch?" Kweku said nothing. A woman grabbed his arm and shook him. "Speak, boy, confess what you have done." Still, Kweku said nothing. An elder stepped forward, a cruel man named Opanyin Mensa, who always believed the worst about everyone. "He has been corrupted. The witch has stolen his voice. There is only one way to save the village. We must burn the witch's hut with her inside, and the boy must be cleansed through beating." Some voices cheered, others murmured uncertainly. Chief Barima raised his hands. "Wait, this is madness. We cannot burn an old woman. We cannot beat a child. What proof do we have that she has done anything wrong?" "Proof?" Opanyen Mensa sneered. "She is a witch. That is proof enough. My grandmother told me about her wickedness. Her grandmother told her. It is known." "It is believed," Chief Barima corrected. "Not known. Belief is not proof." But the elder's words had stirred the crowd. People began to shout. Some grabbed torches. They started moving toward the edge of the village, toward the witch's hut. Kweku broke free from the hands holding him. He ran, not away from the crowd, but ahead of it. He ran faster than he had ever run. He reached the hut before them. He stood in the doorway, arms spread wide. The mob arrived, torches blazing. They saw the small boy standing in the entrance to the witch's home. "Move, child," someone shouted. "We will purge this evil." Kweku did not move. "Move or burn with her." Kweku did not move. The crowd hesitated. Some were willing to hurt the boy. Others were not. There was confusion, shouting, chaos. And then a voice cut through the noise. "Stop!" It was not a loud voice, but it carried power, authority, something that made everyone freeze and turn. A car arrived at the edge of the crowd. Not any car, a government car with flags on the hood, and behind it, 2 more cars, expensive and official. A man stepped out of the first car. He wore a fine suit. His shoes were polished. His watch was gold. He looked like money and power combined. He walked through the crowd, which parted for him like water for a stone. He walked until he reached Kweku, still standing in the doorway. He looked down at the boy. Then he looked at the hut. Then he spoke again. "Who is the chief of this village?" Chief Barima stepped forward nervously. "I am, sir. Who are you? What brings you to Mampong?" The man ignored the question. "Is this the hut of the woman called Nana Abena?" "Yes, the witch. We were about to—" "Witch?" The man's voice was sharp enough to cut. "Is that what you call the Queen Mother?" Silence. Complete silence. The word Queen Mother hung in the air like smoke. Chief Barima stuttered. "Queen Mother? Sir, you must be mistaken. This old woman is—" "This old woman," the man interrupted, "is Nana Abina Serwa Bonsu III, rightful Queen Mother of the Asante royal line, direct descendant of Ya Asante Asantewa herself. She has been lost to us for 60 years. We have been searching for her all this time." The crowd was frozen. Some dropped their torches. Some fell to their knees. The man continued. "When the great sickness came, many royal family members died. The palace was in chaos. Records were lost. When we finally pieced together the lineage, we found that this woman, whom you call witch, is the last surviving elder of the senior branch. The stool of our ancestors belongs to her." He turned to the crowd. His eyes were fire. "And you were about to burn her alive." People began to wail, to cry out, to protest that they didn't know. They were just following what their elders said. They were just afraid. He raised his hand. Silence again. "I have watched this village tonight. I came quietly, wanting to see how you treated her before I revealed myself. And what did I see? I saw a mob with torches. I saw a child, one child, standing between you and murder." He looked at Kweku, really looked at him, saw the thin arms, the ragged clothes, the brave eyes. "What is your name, boy?" "Kweku, sir." "Kweku."
the only one with courage, the only one with love. Why did you help her? Kweku's answer was simple. She was hungry. She was alone. She needed help. No one should be alone, sir. The man nodded slowly. He turned back to the crowd. This child, an orphan, I am told, with nothing, showed more honor than your entire village. He shared his food with her. He gave her kindness when you gave her hatred. He recognized her humanity when you saw only your own fear. He paused. The Queen Mother will come with me now. She will be restored to her rightful position. She will live her remaining days in comfort and dignity, surrounded by family who have mourned her absence for 60 years. He gestured. Attendants from the other cars moved forward. They entered the hut and emerged carrying
Nana Abena. She was wrapped in clean white cloth. She looked confused, overwhelmed, but a smile played on her lips. She saw Kweku. She reached out a trembling hand. "My grandson," she said, "my Kweku." The man heard this. He raised an eyebrow. "She calls you grandson?" Kweku nodded. "She is my grandmother, the only family I have." The man thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "Then you will come too. The Queen Mother has claimed you. That is enough for me." Kweku's eyes went wide. "Come? Where?" "To the palace, to your new home. You will be educated, you will be cared for, you will want for nothing. This is the Queen Mother's will, and now it is mine also." Kweku looked at Nana Abena. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Come, child. We have both been alone too long. Let us be family now." Kweku walked to her. He took her hand. He helped the attendants lift her into the comfortable car. He climbed in beside her. Before the door closed, the man turned to the village one last time. "You will not be punished by law. What you did was cruel, but it was not yet a crime. You stopped before murder, if only just." He looked at them with contempt. "But you will live with this. You will tell your children that you almost burned a queen, that you made an old woman live in filth and hunger for 60 years, that an orphan child had more virtue in his little finger than all of you combined." He pointed at Opanyin Menza, the elder who had called for burning. "And you will remember that you almost led your people to kill a royalty. If she had died, every one of you would have been executed. Think about that in the nights to come." He got in the car. The doors closed. The vehicles drove away, leaving the village in silence. For a long time, no one spoke. They stood in the darkness, torches dying, facing the truth of what they had almost done. Chief Barema was the first to speak. His voice was broken. We are ashamed, all of us, ashamed." No one argued. Years passed. The village of Mampong changed. They tore down the witch's abandoned hut and built a small shrine there instead. A reminder, a warning. They taught their children different stories now. Not stories about witches and curses. Stories about kindness. Stories about looking beyond fear. Stories about the orphan boy who saw humanity when everyone else saw a monster. Some villagers made the long journey to the palace, hoping to beg forgiveness from the Queen Mother. Most were turned away, but a few, those who had secretly helped Kweku, those who had doubted the cruelty, were allowed to see her. Nana Abena was gracious. She forgave those who asked. She had lived too long with bitterness. She chose to die with peace. She lived 5 more years in the palace, surrounded by family, by comfort, by love. Kweku was at her side every day. He went to the best schools, but always came home to her. He read to her. He held her hand. He told her about her lessons, her friends, her dreams. When she finally passed, peacefully in her sleep, at the age of 92, her last words were, "Thank you, Kweku. You gave me back my life." Kweku became an important man. He never forgot where he came from. He built schools for orphans. He created programs to care for abandoned elders. He taught everywhere he went that the person you despise today might be the blessing you need tomorrow. He returned to Mampong once, as an old man with his own grandchildren. He showed them the shrine where the hot one stood. He told them the story. He made them promise to always look past fear, to always choose kindness, to always remember that every person deserves dignity. The elders of Mampong still tell this story. They tell it to children who mock the different. They tell it to adults who fear the unknown. They tell it to remind everyone that the witch at the edge of your village might be the queen you need to find. And the lesson is always the same. Fear makes monsters out of innocent people. Only love can see the truth. And sometimes, the smallest hands carry the biggest hearts. And that is the end of this tale. You stayed. Again. That means something about you. Something important. There are millions of people on the internet right now, scrolling, swiping, moving from one distraction to another, feeding their minds with nonsense that will be forgotten in minutes. But you are here. You just experienced a story that will stay with you for days, maybe weeks, maybe forever. You felt something for that old woman. You cheered for that little boy. You are angry at the village. You felt the injustice in your chest. That reaction, that emotional response, that is what separates you from the sleepwalkers. You have not been numbed by the internet. You still can feel. You still can learn. You still understand that stories carry truths that facts cannot. I am Lorekeeper, and I make these stories for people like you. Not for the scrollers. Not for the short attention span crowd who need flashing lights and loud noises to stay engaged. They would never make it to this moment. They are already gone. I make these stories for the few. The ones who understand that wisdom comes from patience, that truth comes from stillness, that the best lessons come wrapped in stories. Every video I create is designed to change something in you, to make you kinder, wiser, more aware, to remind you of the values that modern life tries to make you forget. But I cannot do this alone. I need you to become part of this family, not just a viewer, a member. Subscribe right now. Click that button and make a decision. Decide that you want more of this in your life. More depth, more wisdom, more stories that actually matter. Then turn on notifications, because the algorithm is not your friend. It will try to distract you with garbage. It will bury my videos under a mountain of meaningless content. The only way to make sure you see the next story is to tell YouTube that you want to see it. And share this video with someone who needs it. Someone who judges too quickly. Someone who fears the different. Someone who has forgotten how to be kind. This story could change them. You could be the one who changes them. Finally, comment below. Tell me what you felt. Tell me who in your life is like Kweku, kind without reward. Tell me if you have ever been wrong about someone, if you ever judged too quickly. Your comments are not just words, they are connection. They prove that we are not alone, that there are still people in this world who care about the things that matter. I am Lorekeeper. The fire is always burning. The next story is waiting. I will see you there.